appreciate you braving the coldest night of the year to come out and see us. Before we start, quick show of hands. How many people have never seen Fool's Play before? Raise your hand if it's your first time seeing the show. So we got some new people here. And raise your hand if you've seen the show Fool's Play before. Go ahead and raise your hand. Most of you have seen the show before. Fantastic. Well, once again, thanks for coming. Before we get started, just some quick introductions. This is Fool's Play Improv. We do the show every Saturday night at 8. Those of you who have seen the show before, can you remember a show that you saw? Raise your hand if you remember a show that you saw. All right, that's good. That's most of you. All right, hold on.
I think.
Okay. You got your hand up in the... what was the Fool's Play you saw recently that you liked? Oh, I see you don't like them. You're here because you're a masochist. Like Statler and Waldorf. Okay, you've had some time to think about it. No, go ahead. What was one that you liked?
Probably the Rankin Bass.
The Rankin Bass one that we just did. We just did that for Christmas. That's one where we do a show like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. A lot of fun. Anyone else have one that they like that they want to talk about? Yeah, man. The Fool's Play Sleepover. That's one about two kids who have a different sleepover every night. Anyone else have a favorite they want to share? No? All right, well, the reason why I bring up these other ones is because I'm here to tell you that FBRL owns those other formats. FBRL is probably most people's favorite formats, and I'm going to tell you why right now. You see, what you're about to see tonight, sure, we say it's a wrestling show, but this is not a wrestling show. You guys are cultured individuals. You've seen wrestling before. This is our ring. There's no ring here. Should be your first indication. What you're going to see tonight isn't wrestling, it's improv comedy. The talented troupe of fools, who you'll see during the show, play over 30 characters in a show that you have a lot of input into what happens. Now, standard wrestling, the real wrestling that's on TV right now, let me just tell you what's been happening on that to give you a basis of comparison. On Monday, on the wrestling show, they had someone who was supposed to be Rosie O'Donnell fight someone who was supposed to be Donald Trump, and Rosie O'Donnell kept eating an ice cream cake. That's bullshit! That's crap! What you're going to see tonight is already, what you've seen tonight is already better than that. You've just been seeing me. Alright, so I think you guys know what sort of a special treat you're in for, but we don't want you to have to take our word for it. We're going to show you how much fun you're going to have tonight with this graph. Here's right now. Okay, here's a little bit from now. Then, oh, limp dick. Okay, but wait. Excitement, and then orgasm. Alright, so by the end of the night you may orgasm. That's why we have this window. Apologize if you won't be able to see by the end of the night. All right. Any case, I think we're finally ready. Sorry about that. I think we're finally ready to tell you about foolsplay.net. You know, foolsplay.net. It's a fantastic resource. You want to log on to foolsplay.net every week to find out what next week's format is going to be. To sign up for our fantastic and hilarious newsletter. Speaking of the newsletter, if you want to, you can sign up right on that table in the back there. The sign up form is right there. I see 3 great. Anyway, it's a monthly surprise in your inbox, or for many people, their spam box, where you get a little cartoon about Fool's Play every month. But enough about that. Okay, you guys all know to go for foolsplay.net. What's the most exciting part of foolsplay.net? FBRL.com. Which is actually part of foolsplay.net. I don't know how the internet works. I click on a link and then I expect porn to come up, and when it does, I get embarrassed. So, that was supposed to transition back to FBRL, but like most things I talk about, it transitioned back to porn. I am a pervert. Anyway, pretend I did the transition well. So that takes us back to FBRL. Speaking of FBRL, it's time. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the CEO, COO, CFO, President, Vice President, and Chairman of the Board of Moneyco Venture Capitalist Group, the owners of the FBRL, Mr. Money!
Oh, hello everybody! It's me, Mr. Money! The owner of the Fool's Play Wrestling League! You know, I've always loved professional wrestling my whole life, ever since I heard about it a couple of years ago. And then I heard that the Fools Play Wrestling League, there was a competition where you could enter for a chance to win a piece of the ownership of the FPRL. And I turned out to be the only person who entered.
Yay!
So now I own the FPRL, the Fools Play Wrestling League. You know, I learned recently that the FPRL used to be a freak show. Many, like 20 years ago. And then a couple of the freaks got in a fight, and it was so popular they decided to have them all fight, and then it evolved into professional wrestling. I think we can all learn a lesson from that. Anyway, tonight I'm very excited because we're having our pay-per-view called Razzle, Dazzle, and it's going to be so exciting and full of bam, pow, crack, and it's going to make me a lot of money, money, money. But before we can have a pay-per-view, we have to know whom is wrestling whom. Did I say that right? How's my grammar?
It sounded great, Mr. Money.
Thank you. So that's why I've called you here, my board of trustees of Money Co-Venture Capitalist Group, to help me decide who's going to be wrestling tonight. Wrestling's so exciting. Let's go through your suggestions for who you think should wrestle whom. Is that right? All right. So we're going to start with the most important match of the night, the main event. This is going to decide who's going to be the champion of the Fools Play Wrestling League. Right now, it's a nice young gentleman named Squidbo who happens to have an entire squid for a head. You think that he should be wrestling the Shooting Star. Shooting Star. Now, I've heard that in professional wrestling, there's this exciting thing where some other wrestler who's not even in the match runs into the ring and beats up one of the wrestlers. And I want that to happen tonight. So, it looks like it's going to be the Huggernaut. Oh, now, I have to tell you about the Huggernaut. He's one of my favorite people. He used to work on my favorite television show, and then I was lucky enough to hire him over to the FPRL. My favorite television show, Silly Smile Junction. It was about this guy, and he had a whole bunch of kids around, and it was all bright and happy and stuff. And what?
I don't know how to spell Huggernaut.
Oh, Huggernaut.
Although I do like that.
She is good as well. So, okay, well, let's start over from the top. Let's figure out who's gonna be the first wrestlers to wrestle tonight. All right, the opening match sets the tone for the entire show. All right, so you want Al Smiles to wrestle the Hibernator.